Look around you, whatever city you live in, whatever road you drove on to get here, whatever building you are sitting inside right now. The chances are the machine that dug its foundations was made by one family, one British family, from a small town in Staffordshire that most people have never visited and could not find on a map. Their machines have built the Channel Tunnel. They have carved roads through the Himalayas. They have helped construct the stadiums of the Olympics, the runways of international airports, the pipelines that heat entire nations. There are more than 220,000 of their machines operating right now, today, in 150 countries across the world. And yet, if I asked you to name the family behind all of it, most people couldn't. That is not an accident. The Bamfords, Britain's invisible dynasty. October the 23rd, 1945. The Second World War had ended just 6 weeks earlier. Britain was exhausted, rationed, and rebuilding. Everywhere you looked there was rubble, debt, and a nation trying to remember what normal felt like. In the small Staffordshire market town of Uttoxeter, a 29-year-old man called Joseph Cyril Bamford rented a lock-up garage. It measured 12 feet by 15. He paid 30 shillings a week, £1.50 in today's money. His tools, a second-hand welding set he had bought from English Electric for £1. His materials, scrap steel, spare parts from wartime vehicles, the wheels and tires from a Grumman Hellcat fighter aircraft, the hubs from a small field howitzer. His starting capital, almost nothing. Joseph Bamford had not fallen into this garage by accident. He had come from a family that already had an engineering business, Bamford's Limited, agricultural machinery. His uncle had offered him a place in it, but his uncle had also told him something that would define the rest of his life. His uncle looked at him and said, "Joe, I think you have very little future ahead of you." On the very same day that Joseph Bamford opened his garage for business, the same day he struck his first weld on that first machine, his wife gave birth to their son, Anthony Paul Bamford, born on the 23rd of October, 1945. The same hour his father started the company that would one day be worth £10 billion. Joseph sold his first trailer at a Uttoxeter market that day. He got £45 for it. He took a second-hand farm cart in part exchange, repaired it overnight, and sold it for another £45. £90. His entire empire began with £90. That garage still exists, preserved under glass at JCB's world headquarters, like a relic in a cathedral. Because that is exactly what it is. The invention that changed everything. How one machine rewired the entire construction industry. By 1948, Joseph Bamford had 6 employees and was making the first hydraulic tipping trailer in Europe. By 1950, he had outgrown the garage and moved to an old cheese factory in Rochester. Still only 6 employees, but the ambition was already enormous. Then came 1953. 1 machine, 2 functions. Before that moment, you needed 2 separate vehicles and twice the workforce to do what a single JCB could now do alone. That single invention, the JCB backhoe loader, did not just make Joseph Bamford rich. It rewired the entire global construction industry. Before the backhoe, building a road meant armies of men. After it, a single operator could do in a day what took a team of 50 a week. Every motorway, every airport runway, every housing estate built in Britain from 1953 onward was shaped by what Joseph Bamford invented in that old cheese factory. JCB has since manufactured more than 600,000 backhoe loaders. They are built on 3 continents. They are the single most recognized piece of construction equipment on Earth. Joseph Bamford personally delivered the first 100 machines to customers, arriving at each site in a Rolls-Royce with the number plate JCB1. He was not a man who lacked confidence in his product. By the 1970s, the company had won 7 Queen's Awards for export. By the time Joseph Bamford retired in 1975, JCB was the dominant force in construction equipment across Britain and Europe. He handed the keys to his son, Anthony, the son who tripled everything from apprentice to billionaire. And the scandal nobody expected: Anthony Bamford was educated at Ampleforth College, one of England's most prestigious Catholic boarding schools. He studied in Grenoble. He spent years as an engineering apprentice at Massey Ferguson before returning to JCB's factory floor in Rochester to learn the business from the ground up. Under Anthony Bamford, JCB went from a strong British business to a genuine global empire. He opened operations in India in 1979, a decision that proved visionary. India would eventually become JCB's single largest market. The company now holds an estimated 50% share of the Indian construction equipment industry. He built factories in the United States and Brazil and China. Revenue that his father measured in millions became revenue measured in billions. In 1990, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him at Buckingham Palace for services to the British economy. In 2013, Prime Minister David Cameron elevated him to the House of Lords as Baron Bamford of Daylesford. Between 2001 and 2013, it emerged that JCB had paid £577 million to an entity called JCB Research. JCB Research was reportedly worth £27,000 on paper. In 2023, HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, launched a formal investigation into what they described as alleged aggressive tax avoidance by Anthony Bamford and his brother Mark. The inquiry concerns shares held in offshore Bermudian family trusts. Lord Bamford quietly resigned from the House of Lords in March 2024. No press release, no statement, no fanfare, he just left. The dividend that shocked Britain, £866 million in a single year? And the question nobody dared ask. In October 2025, JCB filed its annual accounts. Revenue had fallen more than 10% that year, down to £5.8 billion. Profits had dropped significantly. This is the moment the video goes viral. And yet, the Bamford family paid themselves a dividend of £866 million in a single year from a company that was technically having a down period. The heir's 3 children, 3 different empires, one family bet on the future. Anthony Bamford has 3 children, and each of them tells you something different about what it means to inherit extraordinary wealth in 21st century Britain. His eldest son, Joe Bamford, worked at JCB for 14 years, learning the family business from the ground up, just as his father had, just as his grandfather had before that. Then in 2019, he walked away, not to retire, not to collect vintage cars and sit on charitable boards. Joe Bamford bet the family name on hydrogen. He founded Rise Hydrogen, a green energy company. He rescued a Northern Irish bus manufacturer called Wrightbus from administration, saving hundreds of jobs. In 2025, King Charles awarded him a CBE for services to the UK's hydrogen economy. 3 generations. Grandfather, scrap metal and a second-hand welder. Father, the world's largest private construction equipment manufacturer. Son, the hydrogen economy. What the Bamfords teach us about invisible power. Here is what I find most fascinating about the Bamford story. It is not the money. It is not the machines. It is not even the politics, and though we will come back to the politics, it is the invisibility. Joseph Bamford built JCB into a household name. Everyone in Britain knows what a JCB is. The brand is everywhere. The machines are unmissable, painted that iconic yellow. This is the lesson that makes people share the video. No stock market listing, no public shareholders, no journalists with access, no profile pieces by friendly columnists, no social media presence worth speaking of, just the machines, everywhere, working in silence. There is a lesson in the Bamford story that goes beyond business. Joseph Bamford's uncle told him he had very little future ahead of him. He went on to build one of the greatest industrial empires in British history. The uncle's name has been forgotten. The Bamford name is on machines operating in 150 countries. Anthony Bamford took that empire and tripled it. He bought influence in politics, collected Ferraris worth £260 million, and built a country estate in the Cotswolds the size of a small village. He gave his children more than money. He gave them a masterclass in how power is accumulated quietly, held privately, and protected fiercely. Joe Bamford walked away from the machines that built everything and bet his own reputation on the energy that might power everything next. 3 generations, 3 completely different definitions of ambition, all pointing in the same direction. Next week on Blood and Sterling, a British family once wealthier than the king himself, who legally paid £10 in tax across 6 decades. Not 10 million, not 10,000. 10 pounds. Subscribe. You will not want to miss this one.